Well, here she is, the SJCam M20, which promises to be a great little camera. Tiny size, anti-gyro, 4K. Better get it on charge, put a card in and see how it works. Nice and easy to see if it's charging because you've got a nice battery symbol on the back. So let's see what happens once I've got it charged. Right, well, while that's charging, let's see what else we've got in the box. Obviously, you've got this neat little waterproof case. You've got the usual range of mounts that these brackets slide into. Curved one, a flat one, in fact 2 pairs it looks like. Not sure what this one is. I've not seen one of these in the last dozen cameras I've looked at. Well, this is a different kind of mount. Needs some investigation. Yeah, we'll come back to that. USB charging cable, standoffs for the brackets, long one, short one, and a short one at 90 degrees. A couple of kind of tripod mount type things, 1/4 inch tripod thread, male and female. Skeleton case with a backpack clip, which means you can clip it on a helmet or harness strap. A couple of stickers, lens cleaning cloth, and the manual. And as we can see, there's an app that accompanies this. You've got the Q code thingy to scan for the iOS or Android app. Right, let's have another look at this weird thing. Obviously that bracket slides in, but what does this do? I know, I reckon, yes. It's a stick-on mount, but you can rotate it. Right, that's the first time I've seen one of those. Right, well, that's a clever little bit of kit, and there are times when actually you want to change the angle of the camera. Right, well, we got to the bottom of that anyway. I just thought I'd show you in a bit more detail the skeleton case stroke backpack clip. Got a tripod mount there. The idea of this is that you can mount it more lightweight when you don't need it to be in a waterproof case. So that just clips in. You've got access to the buttons there, and fortunately it's got a flashing light on the top so you know when you're recording. You can clip this onto a belt or harness, or paragliding I put it onto the chin guard of my full face helmet. So quite a good bit of kit, and makes this really quite a small and light camera. They've even thought of a little hole for the blue light there. This is a well thought out and well designed camera, because obviously you can't see the screen now. So press the shutter release and you can see it's recording. Yeah, very impressed. You do get a beep when you stop. Now, it'd be nice if they played with the beeps, because the Git Up, Git To, you get different beeps for different on-offs and so on. But all the same, it's a very minor criticism. Yeah, very good. Okay, the SJCam M20 charged up now, and I've put in an SD card, a class 10 32 gig SanDisk, which goes in that way up. Class 10 is always recommended for these kind of cameras nowadays. Before we have a look at the camera and its operation, let's just have a look at the form. I said it was a small camera. In fact, it's an unusual design in that most action cameras are that a landscape. This one is in a portrait kind of mode. It is quite tiny, but just to compare it with, shall we say, the latest Econ H8R, there's not really that much in it size wise. And this is the SJCam X5000 Elite, which is a great little camera, I must say. Also gyro stabilised. Not that much in it. Smaller screen on this. And likewise, case-wise, this is an Econ case. If I turn this sideways, there's actually very little difference in the case size. Although, I do think if this was mounted on a helmet, it's going to be more flush to the helmet, so it won't be sticking out quite as much as a camera that way. So there is some advantage in it. All the same, neat little camera. Right, so looking at the camera and the operation, we've got a battery slot in the bottom here. We've got two LED lights on the front here. We've got the micro HDMI and we've got the micro USB charging. From what I saw in the manual, you can use this for FPV flying, so no doubt that is also an HD out for FPV. On the top you've only got two buttons and a little LED. You've got the shutter release and you've got the power button. On this side, buttons for scrolling up and down, and that is also the Wi-Fi button. On the front you've got this lens, which as I say isn't quite as wide as some action cams, which are usually around the 170 degrees, no, 178. This is 166 degrees. And on the back, now that must be the speaker, that's obviously a mic there. On the back you've got this screen, which is quite a bit smaller than your average action camera, probably 2/3 the size. So, operation. One thing I do like about it already is the fact that it's got buttons for scrolling up and down through the menu. Some cameras try and economise on buttons, like the Econ, where to get through the menu you've got to use a combination of shutter release and power on and off. Well, as an old person I find it easier to have scrolling buttons. Right, so let's have a look at the operation of this little camera. First off, power it up. Short press of the power button. And it fires up in the last mode you're in, which in my case was 1080 60 frames a second. As you can see, you've got battery state there, mic is on, 28 gig card, date time, wide dynamic range, and the little hand shaking there in the corner shows that I've got the gyro stabilisation on. So it's in video mode. To start taking video, press the shutter release. You've got a light flashing here and you've got countdown of the video time. You've got a nice blue light on the top which shows you clearly that it's recording, and you've got a yellow LED flashing on the front which shows you it's recording, which I find great. On a motorcycle you can just look in the mirror and see whether the light's flashing and you know you're recording. Incidentally, I didn't mention it in the Wi-Fi section, but the light underneath is blue and that shows you when the Wi-Fi is activated. So press the shutter release again. Stop. Press the power button briefly and I'm in stills mode. Take a still. Press the power button briefly again and I'm into a set of menus. Now this first icon, which shows a camera and a still camera, just tells you that you're in video photo mode. Now if I scroll through these, you've got playback mode, where you can look at your videos. You've got video lapse. If I press this now, I will be in video lapse mode. Press again, slow recording. Press this, I'm in slow recording. Photo lapse. So a short press of the shutter button and I'll be in that mode. Underwater mode, FPV, motion detect mode, car mode, which is loop recording, remote control, which is an optional extra with this, and the setup menu. So to go into setup menu, first item is resolution, 4K 24 frames a second interpolated, and I can scroll up and down, select which I want, press the shutter button and select that, but I'm going to stick with 1080 at 60. Loop recording for car use, turned off of course, because I don't, if you're in loop recording it just records in 3-minute sections. Field of view, you can change from wide to middle. Wide dynamic range, gyro on or off for the stabilisation, audio, volume, timestamp, on or off, TV mode, on-screen display, video file format, you can change from MP4 to MOV. I'll go back to MP4, I think it's smaller file size. Bitrate, I've set to high, which I think is best quality. Double file, not quite sure, I think it actually saves the file twice. Maybe that's a backup. Power on record, starts recording as soon as you press the power on button. Image size for stills, quality, fine, superfine, sharpness, strong or normal, white balance, which I tend to set to auto, colour, ISO I set to auto, that's film speed, exposure value, raw, distortion correction, which I think takes out the fisheye effect but probably just crops the frame, license number set, date, time, set that, auto power off is the time that it will shut down if it's not in use, keypad tone, light set, it's probably the brightness I guess, not sure, screensaver, that's how quickly the display disappears, frequency, rotate, that's if you want to use it in car mode, language, password for the Wi-Fi is 1234567 format, formats the card, and version is firmware version, which I'm recording this on the 3rd of June, which is only May the 20th, so that's very up to date. And that's that. So to come out of that, I'll press the power button briefly, scroll through these again, this is important, otherwise you'll go back into settings and put it back in video photo mode. And as you can see, I'm in video photo mode. So that's about the size of that. Easy to operate, and especially like when you've got scroll up and down buttons, it makes it much easier than shuffling between just 2 buttons. So let's take a look at the Wi-Fi app. As I mentioned before, you've got this Q code thingy on here, so you can scan it with your phone and install, or no doubt you can go to the SJCam website. Already installed on my phone, which is a Motorola Moto E 2nd generation budget phone, Android Lollipop. So to fire up the Wi-Fi, turn on the camera. Right, turn on, that's the Wi-Fi button. As I've discovered, it's a short press to turn it on. If you do a long press, it doesn't work. It's actually telling me what the identification is, which is M2025 and the password. So if I go into settings on my phone, turn the Wi-Fi on, it's there but it says no internet. It's immediately connected to my local network. So connect to M200, connecting, authenticating, connected, no internet. The problem I had before with this phone was it wouldn't connect unless there was an internet connection. I'm pleased to say now, with the new Android version, it asks me if I want to connect even though there's no network. Yes please. So it's connected. I'll come out of that into the SJCam app, which as I say I've already installed somewhere here. There it is. That's it. Press that one, that helps. Connecting. And lo and behold, here we are, looking at the mess of cameras on my table. Camera is connected. And here am I looking at my camera. So what does the app do? Give the screen a touch. You can change settings, everything. Resolution, cyclic recording, wide dynamic range and so on. Very good. Back. I can change from video mode to taking pictures, timing mode. I can review video that I've made and download to my phone or play it on my phone. But one thing that is rather good is you can stop recording with your phone. So if you wanted to put this 30 feet away to record wildlife or something and be out of the way, you could actually start recording. You could monitor the situation and start recording remotely. Turn it off. And it also means if you're out in the field somewhere doing a water sport, kayaking or paragliding, which is what I do, you could download and look at your videos on a tablet or something while you're away. So I think that's rather good. I'm not sure if the SJCam version I've got here is actually the one that's there, because I installed this quite a few months ago. But all the same, it's probably much the same. Password, as I mentioned, was 12345678. Once you put it in there, you won't have to put it in again anyway, but your phone will remember it. So that's that.
Let's go. Didn't have to have 15 goals like us.
Say hi, Josh. You're going to be on YouTube.
Greetings and salutations.
And Tom.
Hello.
Right, this is on the 4K setting, which is interpolated, it says. Let's see if it's really 24 frames a second or whether they've got doubled frames. And this is the same thing, but in the 2K 30 frames a second mode.
Harmy good heart. I be the Captain Blackheart of Brixton, and ne'er ye forget it. Aye, and this be a spot of me treasure which I be carrying upon me. Aye, that be for true it be. Do ye like it all? 'Cause I tell ye now, it be all mine. Mine alone. And ye be not having a touch of it, I tell ye.
let's check out the sound on this. There is enough wind, bit of a misty murky day here at B Sands, but I think once I get another 50 or 100 foot, then there'll be plenty of wind to stay up. And this is where the best lift is at the minute. So not the perfect day for a camera test. This is 1080 60 frames a second with the gyro turned on. Cows are having a sleep. That's not a little bank of fog. Could do with a little bit more wind. But I think that might be a fog bank. I'll keep an eye on that. I've been stuck in fog here before. Although I can see a boat through it, so it's not thick. Misty day here. Just in case, I can see tendrils coming down from that. Right, just landing in case there's rain there, because it looks a bit like it to me. That's very low cloud and you can see little tendrils hanging down from it, which might be a shower. So I'm going to get ready to get under my stuff sack. Right, I think I made a good call when I decided to land, because this is the visibility now. That's the village of B Sands down there, which you can just about see, and that's just 300 feet down there. So I'd have been fogged in. This is a gyro test of the SJCam M20 versus GitUp Git 2 versus SJCam X5000 versus budget Econ H9R, which is probably half the price but has no gyro. And they've all got lovely flashing lights on the front so that you can see when they're recording, which I think is great with a camera. It's essential. It's a bit misty and murky on the coast, which is why it looks hazy in the distance. Right, this is a bit of gentle wobbling about. Swaying side to side. And that is pretty violent shaking. That is really shaking it about like crazy. Right, and here's kind of general slow walking around. Just slow